we would like moments to replicate or to be the same, there is never ever a moment that is exactly the same as the moment before. A little while ago, I was doing this same stream in Spanish, and I know that it's going to appear differently, not completely different as it was before, but I already feel very different right now. So today I want to talk about water and the importance of water in our lives, but from an intimate place and how water is related to ourselves as well, how we are water in our emotions and the way we experience life. So, in this other stream that I was doing, I could feel my emotions moving inside me. I cried a little, and right now I feel different. So, I can see how that water inside me has been changing moment by moment. And that's precisely what happens every day with those fluctuations that we have inside of us. Water, as you know, in a river, the water that you see passing by will never be the same as the one that you see the second after. So today the reflection around water is also because many people around the world are celebrating the World Water Day. So in Colombia, for example, a group of people, many people, and in other places in Latin America, have been singing to water. And that was an initiative from a community called Cantoalagua. It's like chanting to water or singing to water. So, Cantoalagua is a community that through meditation, singing, art, and collective actions seeks to raise awareness about the importance of water. Cantoalagua is a network of individuals who want to recover the spiritual connection with the universal water. We all consider ourselves guardians of water around this beautiful blue planet. So, this is an invitation for you to remind yourselves how much you also are a guardian of water. And for this year, Cantoalagua was inviting us to think, how are we sheltering our daily life? How are we sheltering life? So, this invited me to think about the many ways in which, on a daily basis, I am embracing life in different ways, and I am giving myself comfort on a daily basis. So sometimes maybe we think that in order to produce a big change in the world in terms of environmental actions, we need to do something really huge in order to make a difference. But day by day, we have beginning to realize that each one of us can make a really big difference in the way we experience the world. So, as you know, we are water inside, and we can experiment those fluctuations, for example, through our emotions. Sometimes we can feel like a waterfall, that we are flowing, and at the same time that we are doing it with so much strength. Sometimes we feel more like a stream, that everything is fluctuating really easily, flowing. Sometimes we could feel like the clouds in the sky. Maybe when we feel lost, or sometimes maybe when we feel that everything is confusing. Sometimes we can feel also like the rain as well, and in many situations we allow ourselves to cry and experiment those emotions, and sometimes we have been told that crying is not a good thing. So imagine if the planet Earth thought the same, that we have been told that crying was not a good thing. where would the water come from if the clouds were thinking every time, I'm not going to cry? So it's so beautiful and important that all these reflections that we are doing for planet Earth, we can begin doing them in ourselves. So I want to tell you a story that has been important for me in the last few days, and it's about a hummingbird. You probably have heard this story before, maybe not. And it's about a hummingbird that saw that there was happening a big fire in a forest, and then he saw how all the other animals started running away, and he decided to fly towards the closest river to bring some water with its beak. And then, as you can imagine, the hummingbird cannot really uh, bring so much water. So it was drop by drop that he was flying, flying, flying really fast and bringing those little drops of water to the fire. And then the other animals were surprised because he was doing that. So they asked them, they asked the hummingbird, like, why are, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And the hummingbird said, I am doing my part. So that's what exactly this is about. We are all doing our part in this planet. And even though it seems as something really small, and that we need to do super grandiose things in order to make a difference in the world, life itself is inviting us at every moment that we just need to be ourselves in order to make that difference, because the difference on its own is just the fact of being alive. So this is also an invitation for us to remember more and more how much we can allow ourselves to be ourselves, and to instead of trying to change so much who we are, embrace who we are from the very beginning. Since we were in our mom's womb, that we were also floating in water, we were loved by life and the universe. So in the same way, when we feel that water that is flowing inside of us, how much are we embracing ourselves, and how much are we allowing ourselves to be ourselves? How much are we embracing our water? So, as I was telling you before, I was crying a little while ago. I just was doing the same sharing in Spanish, and I was feeling a little nervous, and I think that also brought some emotions to me, and I allowed myself to cry a little. And now I could see how those emotions have been changing right now, and I don't feel the same as before. So that's why water invites us all the time to embrace that the nature of water, which is flowing. So as the more we allow ourselves to remember that we are just like water, the more we can flow with life. And to remember that even though sometimes we feel like drops of water from one another, we are all part of the same ocean, and that each little piece of life is as important as the other, and that whatever you bring to the world is as important as what anyone else brings as well. So today, there have been many people embracing that as well. They have united in community, singing to water from the heart. And this is my giving to water today, to speak from who I am, from who I am being in this precise moment, um, without trying to change anything from who I am right now, and at the same time understanding that in this type of sharing also, that maybe there are some things that could not be interesting for other people, but that's okay as well. So day by day we can start embracing ourselves more and more, and understanding that our contribution to the world is as important. So just as the hummingbird, we can do a lot in order to contribute to life. Even if we don't have the chance to go to a lake, to a river, to an ocean to sing to water, we can sing to ourselves in terms of knowing and being aware of thoughts that we have on a daily basis, the emotions, because emotions carry also the print of the intention that we put on them. So in many experiments, it has been known that water receives whatever intention people puts on the water. So if we put an intention of love to water, those molecules of water start changing, transforming themselves. And when that intention comes from a different place, those molecules start changing. At the end of the day, we can always come back to love and experience that that's all there is, but there are many fluctuations between the way love expresses itself. So in today's invitation, many people have been singing to water from the vowel A, which is the vowel from the heart, which is in Spanish is A, and we can all make that sound. And it's the vowel that connects to our heart. So that's the tone that has been sung today to water mostly, because the intention is to connect from that loving intention to sing to water, and to remember that whatever we give on the outside has to go through us in order to come outside. So it also soothes us, it also nourishes us. So so it's important to know that before it goes outside, it is doing its work on the inside, which is the most important, because what is outside is the reflection of what is inside. So if water, we see it like that it's scarce in the world, that water is many places are becoming dry. How much are we allowing our love to be dry inside of us? How much have we stopped the fact of allowing love to flow through us? So the more we allow love to flow through us, the more love we will see on the outside expressed in the elements of earth. So water is known as being the vehicle of love. So if we all become those vehicles of love, then there is never going to be a scarcity of any of those elements, because the more love we are inside, the more love we will see on the outside. So this is a very important insight that has been coming through to our lives more and more. So the more love we grow in ourselves, as as the plants that we are, and we water them with that love, the more water we will see on the outside. So this is again an invitation for us to embrace who we really are, which is the flow of the intensity of life that manifests itself in many different forms. And today, with the celebration of the World Water Day, the invitation is to embrace the water that is inside of us as well. So I want to invite the flute, which has the hummingbird here, as you can see. And this flute is toned in 432 hertz, which is the frequency of love. So I am going to play a little bit of the flute and invite you to feel inside of you how those vibrations resonate, and to know that you can also emit similar sounds with your voice. So let's listen. also for the breath to come out from my mouth, it's important that there is water inside, like in my throat. Also, air has humidity. The oxygen has humidity, so everything is water as well. And that's why those vibrations that you receive through sound also have the memory of water. So there is really no separation between one thing and the other. That's why we can create water. We have the power of creating water because we are love, and water is love. So that's something that it's important that we all remember. Sometimes we feel like storms, for example, and it's the moment that we want to hide, that we don't want anyone to see how we are feeling, that we think that it's not important to express ourselves in such a way. However, nature needs storms sometimes in order to balance certain things. So how much, for example, have we allowed storms to raise inside of us, or to actually suppress those storms? So all those things, all those suppressions of emotions start blocking the flow of life and the flow of that love that we really are. So this invitation is also to be aware of how much we have been suppressing, or rather allowing those emotions to be expressed, or at least for us to observe the emotions instead of suppressing them. Because suppressing emotions is almost like when we have water in a bottle. The fact of putting water in a bottle has also been a way in which love has stopped flowing. And if we know that we have been as trapped as water in a bottle, we can start from us to allow ourselves to actually be more like in the flow of water and life, in order to start restoring what we see as scars on the outside, to start restoring it in ourselves. Thank you for being there. If anyone would like to leave a message, to say anything that you relate in your life with water, or how have you been experiencing this sharing, I would be super happy to know that you are there listening. And if you listen to this recording afterwards, it would be great to have your messages as well, and to continue this sharing. I want to thank to a very amazing artist. His name is Bogart. He is from Mexico, and today he has been launching a really beautiful song that is called "The Cycle of Love." So thank you to Bogart for having shared your song. I am going to play it here right now for you to listen to it, and at the same time I invite you to follow his work. So while I find out how I can share this song, I am going to share with you here his social media in case you want to follow him. You can find him in Instagram as Bogardo Oficial, and in Facebook. And also, there is the link for his song if you want to listen to it. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can share the song. I have it ready, but let me see. Okay, I think I'm just to play the song in the background, and then I am going to share it in Ecosinnova site for you to be able to listen to it completely. So I'll leave you here Ecosinnova's links if you want to listen to it afterwards. So thank you, Bogart, for your sharing.
Fluyo, entonces río, puedo sentir el mar dentro de mí. Vuelo hasta las nubes para empezar el ciclo del amor.
Okay, bueno, so you can listen to the whole song in the link that I share on Spotify. So thank you, Bogart, for that beautiful song, which talks about the cycle of love, also describing the cycle of water, how it is in the sea, also in the rivers, and then it goes to the clouds, and then it rains, and it completes the cycle of love. So well, this is a reminder for us to know that the solution to any world issue that might be challenging at the moment is inside each one of us. So remember how much of a difference we can all make, just as the hummingbird trying to stop a fire with his beak, bringing a little drop by drop to that fire in order to put it down. We can all do, or we can all make a big difference from the way we experience the world, how we treat our family, how we treat ourselves, how we treat the plants, how we treat everyone else. That's a big contribution that we are doing in order for water to reestablish itself in the world. So, one last thing that I want to share with you today is to have this moment of connecting with the sound ah from the heart in order to sing to water, which, as I was telling you before, is the vowel or the sound of the heart. So if you want to accompany me while I do this sharing through my voice, you can also do it. And I was sharing before in the other stream that maybe we sometimes when we do this, we imagine that our voice is actually not as tuned as we need it to be, or is not as tuned as a flute, for example. But then I had an experience in which I could know how the my voice was very similar to the tone of the flute. So it was for me a beautiful reminder in order to know that my my beliefs that the sound of my voice wasn't tuned were just beliefs, because we all are in the perfect vibration that we are bringing to the world. And also through the understanding or identification that we can have of our own emotions, we can get also like in the perfect tonality that we want to experience the world, or that we can give to others. Maybe if we are like a storm, we don't want to scream like a storm, but we can try to calm ourselves as well to come back to a place in which we would like our voice to be an offering from love to the world. So I have here a glass of water, and I am going to make that offering to water from love with my voice. So thank you for being here also in this moment. Remember how much songs make us happy, the tone of a melody, or when we were children, probably we listened to some tunes when we were in our mom's belly. She was holding us there with her water and also reminding us of the love that she is, and at the same time that the universe is. So now we are in a bigger womb all together, and we can sustain that womb and ourselves through the love that we all are. So thank you so much for being here, and remember that each one of us can make a big difference with the way we express ourselves, even when someone or nobody is listening to us. When we are in the silence of our thoughts and our emotions, we are expressing many things to ourselves, and that's what eventually we express in the world. And we are creating a new world, a new earth, and we are contributing for water to keep flowing through us and also outside of us everywhere. So thank you for being here and have a beautiful rest of day, evening, and see you next time. Bye.